Hi, so this is the Boston Independent Drivers Guild coming to you live with Massachusetts is not for sale, or Mass not for sale as it's known. And we will be starting momentarily. All right, everyone, we can start it. So I know for that. Get started. I thought this way I would myself and so my name is Sid. I'm a member of the graduate. We are an undergraduate candidates group that organizes like advocacy for justice and we have a really wonderful experience when we led the upcoming paper workers, most of the things like half of and that was like a 4-year-long movement that ended with culminated in an occupation of Harvard Hall for 3 weeks by 50 Harvard students, and super awesome.
And then, yeah, sorry. Okay, and then through the years, we've been continuous labor advocacy. We've helped out with all kinds of strikes. We helped with promotion review, our graduate student union, and recently this fall, the HSU strike. Very well. So that is kind of slammed on why we're here. And we've made organizing against the anti-labor ballot initiative November, one of our goals of this semester and next semester. So here we are. And yeah, basically we're going to start with a presentation by Master Dale, Social Ballot Initiative. And they're just going to give an overview of the issue, everything. There'll be a little bit of ask questions, and then we're going to have a panel. And we have some questions. Great. So, yay!
Okay. Hi everybody, can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
All right. My name is Fassi. My pronouns are Kim. A little bit of background about me. I grew up in Brighton. I live in Portchester now, so I'm right down the red line from you guys if you want to hang out. Right? I've been driving since I was 21 years old. I started as a cab driver. My father was a taxi owner operator in the city of Boston. And I myself have been jumping between that, gig work, Uber, Lyft. Right now, I'm DoorDash. If it's an app and you make money while driving, I've done it. So, right now, I'm here for Mass Not for Sale. I've been hired as an organizer. I'm really excited to be part of this group. This is like a big, big deal. This is a lot of big organizations coming together, fighting against one particular thing. That's the big ballot measure coming up. So our campaign to keep things that defend the rights of workers, consumers, and taxpayers in Massachusetts. Workers like me, make their bread and butter and living on the road. If you're independent contractors, we don't get health insurance from our employer because we're not employees. With contractors, consumers, you have some liability issues when you ride in an Uber or Lyft or whatever app new like cool app is going to come up. Probably going to do like purple with stripes and stuff like that. Lyft tried to different pink mustache. And taxpayers, if you're a taxpayer in Massachusetts, you are subsidizing my living because I get subsidized healthcare through the ACA. A lot of drivers are on Medicaid or on Mass Health, okay? And we should get that through our employer. Ideally, right? I'll be on Medicare for all, but this is a system that it's like a broken system. There's sometimes it can work, but it's not working for us because we don't get it. So what's this fight about? We have extremely strong labor laws in Massachusetts, probably first or second strongest in the country. And it's a little technical. I think I will speak about that a little later. But there's an ABC test. I'm not a lawyer, don't ask me about it. But it's how you determine whether or not you can classify as an employee or a contractor. And a labor attorney said, if you're a law firm, you hire a lawyer, they're probably your employees. If you're a law firm and you hire a plumber or plumbing, they're your contractor. So in 2021, our esteemed Attorney General, Mara Healy, sued companies like Uber and Lyft because they misclassify us consistently. They have from the beginning, they always have. This has been an issue in the transportation industry for a very long time. Very long time. So she's actually running for governor, so that's probably a good reason why she's doing this. And in response, boom, they filed HB 1234, 1234, sorry, easy to remember, and two nearly identical ballot initiatives in the state. So I was involved around 2016 in the campaign by taxi drivers to keep Uber and Lyft and these ride companies illegal because that was their status. But they spent a lot of money talking to politicians about how, no, the public likes these, our public transportation is not good, it's not there. We fill in the gaps. That was different. They thought they could be a replacement. This was the same playbook. So they were getting sued by the taxi and limousine industry in Massachusetts because, I'm sorry, the state was getting sued by the taxi in Massachusetts because they were treating these ride-hailing, these ride-up companies differently than taxi and limousine. And they actually won, but they appealed it right away in federal court. And what happened is they rushed the bill through the state legislature, and that was actually the most expensive bill in terms of lobbying money. They're doing the same thing now. Uber and Lyft drivers in California will remain contractors because of Prop 22. One of the old names of our organization was No Prop 22 Massachusetts. They did the same thing, the same game plan they're doing, and they took advantage of 2020 when the world was distracted, right? We had a big federal election going on. We had to take Trump out. We got that done, but we got this. So they spent $224 million to make sure that drivers in California continued to be classified as independent contractors, would never be able to be classified as employees, and would never get benefits. They tried to throw in some token stuff like minimum wage guarantees here and there. It's all a farce. What it is, it's like while you're on a ride or while you're on delivery, you get paid the minimum wage or you're guaranteed. So I'll tell you, if a driver spends 50% of their time with a passenger or with an Uber, that means they're only getting, instead of the $18 that these bills want to guarantee, they would effectively have a minimum wage of $9, which would be even less if they. So imagine if you work at a bakery, right, and you get paid $15 an hour, but you only get paid when there's a customer at the counter, and there's only customers at the counter. Okay, what would the big tech bill do? It would create a new permanent underclass of workers that would be making, if you're part-time, around 42 an hour, and if you're full-time, $5.64 an hour. That's what it would do. It would create tax cuts for big tech, right? Because they're not paying into Social Security, they're not paying into Medicare, they're not paying into payroll. And 90% of drivers would have no benefits on this. One of the things they're proposing is a weird kind of flex health savings account. The driver would pay for that, and the taxpayer would pay for it. And I'm a taxpayer. I don't want to pay for it, right? Unless it's Medicare for long. And absolutely no paid sick time. No protections from racism. And I'd like to add, it's current right now. There's no. So if somebody gets in to say, I don't like Pakistani guys with mustaches, I can't say anything. I can't. So all the liabilities for the driver and the public, and as now, big tech can fire drivers. So we have about 300,000 gig workers in Massachusetts. 70% of Black and brown folks. Right? Not all of them live in Boston. A lot of them live in neighborhoods that are already underserved by other services, by city services, by state services. Right? If you look at the disparities in health during COVID, right? Look at the vaccination rates, look at the infection rates, look at the death rates. Right here. These are the people that are being affected. That goes into what they're using. They're using these beautiful people of color. They're trying to push them to the front and say, no, we like this. We like this. It's just sharecropping in another verbiage. It's completely unauthentic. Against workers' rights, right? They take people that look like the diverse community we have in Massachusetts. They push them to the forefront. They're trying to use the idea of racial justice in their favor, but it's not. We're not business owners. They're not empowering us. The only empowerment they're offering us is to work ourselves to death. So what's misclassification? So this is a pretty good little infographic here, but I'll tell you, as somebody who talks to drivers every day, this is murky for them. They don't understand this, and this isn't going to be the big selling point for drivers. So to give you a little example, like the bakery thing I was talking about earlier, the independent contractors are their own bosses. When I'm driving Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, whatever, I'm not an LLC, I'm not an S corp. You're contracting personally with me. Versus if I was under direct supervision of my employer, things like benefits, paid time off, health insurance, which is already kind of murky, and then taxes. If everybody here has worked a summer job or part-time job, you get your taxes taken out of your paycheck every week, bi-weekly, whatnot. Every year I got to pay taxes out of my pocket because nobody withholds them from me. That's it. So I got to do that all the time. And I tell you, I don't have a couple of friends. All my money goes into housing, groceries, and whatever I spend my money on. Now, what are the trade-offs? Their key word is flexibility. Where's the flexibility on prices? A real independent contractor would be able to set their own rates. These people can't. They cannot. So when gas went from $2 to $3 to $4 to $5, we couldn't charge a penny more. And they charged the customers more on surge price. When I was a cab driver, even overcharging a customer by 1 cent, if you got reported, you would have to come up with a money order for the whole fare and refund. This is not fair for drivers. They have no flexibility. The only flexibility you have is to work more hours. A lot of people, when they first start this job, they realize that your income is a function of the hours you put in. So for many, many people, they want to work 80 hours a week. 80 hours a week, you're going to make a lot of money at the end of the week, at the end of the month. But you're killing yourself. It's not feasible. Every driver, after they've been there for 10 years, they got a big gut like me. It's a real thing. You crap people. Also, you never have protections from racist or sexist. The amount of openly racist passengers would astonish you. It's insane. Absolutely no minimum wage. You're never guaranteed to make a penny when you go out to work. When I drove a cab, if you rent a cab, you start your day negative $104 rent of the cab, plus tolls, plus gas, plus other things. No serious benefits, no accident protection. They say they have this $1 million umbrella liability policy. Doesn't cover the driver. No, it's for you, the passenger, and it's for the other vehicles that if they hit a property damage, things like that. And a lot of times, if you are a driver and you get hit, it's not your fault, no injuries, nothing, and your car's $5,000 worth of payment, you have between a $1,000 and $2,500 deductible you have to pay from the money that you would get to fix your car. So if your damage is $5,000, the body shop fixes it, the umbrella insurance company sends the payment to the body shop. What happens? You're out $2,500. And if you don't pay it, they'll take it from your earnings. So buy money. It's a great way to lose money. And gas, forget about it. You're never going to get it. Who's funding who? I believe Uber and Lyft are paying around 100 million corporate dollars. This is money from sketchy banks that launder money for terrorists and cartels. This is shareholder money. This is VC money. This is not people money. Right? Who's funding us? Well, labor unions, community organizations. You know, if y'all want to contribute, cool. no calls from me about it. Yeah, it's dirty, filthy money, and it's every ride you take. You know, of course, we all got to get this, but you're supporting them. The future of work. This comes from Jonathan Paz over here. He came up with the term. What is the future of work about? So we saw in California after they passed Prop 22, they started looking at how do we manipulate the system to use against workers that are even unionized now, that are full employees. I believe there was a grocery store where they fired a bunch of unionized delivery drivers and they hired gig workers, right? They're doing Uber for nurses. How long until they have Uber for college professors, right? How long until they have Uber for, I joke with the state legislators, how long until they have Uber for legislators? That's scary. These are a lot of the community groups. We just have a bunch of new endorsements, actually. These are the people that are part of our coalition, and they're endorsing us. A lot of big names, so we have a bunch of different organizations. They're all kind of in the same spectrum, but a lot of them, they find themselves typically on different sides of the same issue. Like the NAACP, the local chapter, we have Myra, we have Matt, Union of Minority Neighborhoods, Sierra Club, you know, you name it. And I believe we also got the SLAM endorsement. Oh, yeah. So we just got a bunch more. We can read them out later. All right, we got a young person of color here. She's driving. She's ready. She's like, I got approved on the app. Let's go make some money. Let's go pay those bills. Let's do a little quiz here. Under the new law, under the new ballot image, can she legally protect herself from arbitrary deactivation? And if you know the answer at the side, keep your mouth closed. Can I get a hand for yes? Answer no? What's your hand? Put it down. Answer's no. This gentleman, this is a very good story. He was injured. He was on his way home from work. He's a Boston kid like me. On his way home from work, just want to get home and have a beer. He's a Uber driver. He crashes into a parked car. He ends up quadriplegic. He was actually at our Big Worker Safety Day last Wednesday. I'm sorry, he couldn't make it. His sister, he had to go to like PT. It's just awful. So under the system, under this new permanent underclass system, would the consumer legally sue for damages? Who would be liable? So can we get a show of hands for Uber and Lyft and the big tech companies? Anybody? No. Oh, no. How about the driver on the other side? Very good. Good job, guys. Talk about taxes. Everybody loves paying their taxes. So do Uber and Lyft pay into our tax system like Social Security, unemployment insurance, and workers' comp? Can we see some hands for yes? Oh, okay. Can we see some hands for no? All right, very good. I think you guys are onto this. We got like students, right? So this is the things we ask of you, right? And I'd like to personally thank everybody here for coming. I'd like to thank Sam for endorsement. One thing is, how can you help us? Invite us to talk, remember meetings about this campaign life we're doing right here. This is really cool. I'm really nervous. I don't get to talk to big groups a lot, but I do like to. Thank you. Thank you. Invite us to talk to your BCC, BPC. Survey your membership. Help us contact and inform drivers, delivery workers in your network, right? So everybody, if you are anything but like Jeff Bezos, nieces and nephews and them, then you know somebody who's a worker for sure. Use those networks, talk to them, inform them. Do they live in Massachusetts? Do they live in California? Do they know what's going on here? This is like the war on the working class. We really need to engage drivers. That's my job. I go out every day as we were literally, I don't know if we can tell the story. Yesterday we were at the airport. Technically, we're not supposed to be there, so we almost got arrested, but we managed to get out by the skin of our teeth. So, yeah, exactly. So, if you have drivers in your personal family friend network, let them know what to tell them, get them involved. Literally give them my phone number, my email, they can call me. What else? Social media. Yeah, we put on social media. For sure, use those. Sharing, elevating, and amplifying our stories like Facebook, Twitter, That's Not For Sale. We're going to get an Insta. We're going to get a TikTok. We're going to be on Reddit. We're going to be downvoting and upvoting and all that. I'm a Reddit kid, so I can do that. Recruit other community-based organizations to our fight. So one big thing, we're working with a lot of other drivers. And believe it or not, there can be some issues between groups because we all have different agendas. We all have different things we want to say and do, but we all have to have a united voice together. So if there are kind of left adjacent groups that you're talking to, labor adjacent groups that you're familiar with, encourage them, have them invite us, we'll talk. We'll help you mend fences too. I love that. I love sitting down and being a little bit in that area. Recruit other community-based organizations to join our fight. Join our organizing committee. Come on, guys, we need you. All right, and here's a QR code on our movement. Hank, did you ever see this, Dad?
Yes, I did. Okay, can we just do a round of applause? He's got, driver both for, as a taxi driver, incredible organizer. Now we can add business Harvard professor to that bio there. So add that. Just I love the little show hands and I love the audience participation and our little act that we have for you guys. So if just out of curiosity, you ask guys a question that you agree with me or feel sympathetic to that, like you raise your hand, keep it up. Who here thinks that it is bullshit that big tech is going to come in here and buy a law in Massachusetts? Raise your hand, keep it up. Who here thinks that drivers, that anyone who works on an app, there's more dignity, more protection, and if you're working an 80-hour week, that should be your only job. You should have the protections of an employee. Raise your hand, keep it up. Hell yeah. And who here thinks that we need to reimagine work, not just in this, this state, this commonwealth, but in this country? That we need to be thinking differently about the way we do this work, and we need to be building power every single day to make that happen. Raise your hand, keep it up. All right, now keep that hand raised if you're going to join us and fucking do something. All right, guys. Layla and I are going to be at that door. Before you leave, sign up with us. We don't always need, this is going to be a long campaign. For those of you who are around during the fall semester or even during the summer, let us know because we are actively building this team right now. We need people to be helping us, talk to drivers, talk to community members, building this movement into something that is going to beat big tech in November. And believe me, even if, and we are not going to say the L word here, that fucking shit happened. We are going to be going past that day, building power in these communities on and on until we achieve what we need to do for this community. Because we know that when we fight together, we are going to win, right? The power that we have cannot be not by a million, or in this case, 100 million big tech dollars, right? Can I get a hell yeah? Come on, guys. All right. Thank you so much for coming. He's going to be up on the panel. The other folks that we have later, but please, like I said, do not leave this without signing up with us. We need everybody here to help out. Okay? Thank you.
And one more thing, we're actually going to be our summer. We're going to do like summer was it bullshit. Like John's here on board. You know that the summer is a good time to take it over here. So come see us. We'd love to get some food. Good time, you know, a lot of potential. You know that. You can see in your face. There's a lot in your eyes, actually. So yeah, QR code if you guys are interested, or come see me if you willing to go on my personal information. Call me, text me, send me. All right.
Thank you so much. Oh yeah, we're gonna do the panel first. We're gonna go on the panel. All right, so you guys can just like go and go down the line and do like self presentation, why you're
Yeah. Hi everyone. I'm just excited about the connector. We're a statewide nonprofit union, we're the centers, with other nonprofits across the state. We work on justice issues, immigration, as well as other issues, climate and
Hi, my name is Beth Riches. I go by Speaker Day. I am the executive director of the Boston Drivers Guild, and we were formed in 2018 by a group of drivers. About 100 drivers came out to that first meeting. It was in Cambridge, and we realized that we had a lot in common. And we realized that we needed a voice. We needed to be treated fairly, and we've been growing and organizing ever since. We represent all types of workers, not just Uber and Lyft drivers, and you know, it is wonderful to be here on this panel with all of you young people. This is my friend over here.
I think you guys just met me too. That's all trades right now. Mostly driver, workers, warrior, I guess, for class. I don't know. But I totally like my co-panelists. Asia.
Thank you all. So we heard from Max Not for Sale, like what we were done, we discussion about like what do you think, what more is here, what more do you, especially like as people, the people in the industry, what do you view as like stuff like organizing it? Yeah, what else? And yeah, we can go.
Yeah, I mean, at least for us, they would say to make that very commitment and we're with the part of the national scale and talking to people like talking to the network, we're gonna be knocking on doors. There's a lot of campaigns, training, summer, and talking to people and getting them to understand what's happening, to learn about the ballot measures, make sure people know and be remembered elections and get them on
So I would just say also, how many of you are registered voters or old enough? How many of you are mass residents?
Yeah.
So I would say, get your ballots ready. Then I know you college busy. I remember when I was in college, so many parties too. And everything. But just make sure you're registered, participate, and get your family involved, your grandparents. Just like, do you love me? There's this balance that I'm passionate about, and the other side is portraying it as if voting yes for this is going to help drivers, but it's actually going to make these drivers. So please, grandma, grandpa, abuelo, abuela, do me a favor and vote, because most seniors do vote. It's the #1 voting class. I'll even drive you to the I'll help you mail in your ballot. I'll drive you to the voting to vote. Like, just get involved. If you can help us later on in organizing and phone banking, or have us speak. I'm looking to speak at high school, because if you really think about this is history, and I'm sure everyone wants to be a part of winning to DC. It's like David versus Goliath. Everyone wants to defeat Goliath. That's what they have. And so you guys are, potentially, helping a significant part of labor history. And so I would say, scan that QR code, get involved. They are taking donations but every dollar counts. Dollars, I think nothing is too little, because we are a grassroots movement. So now I know there's a trust fund baby over here. But every dollar was great to get for the mass opportunity coalition.
Yeah, my input is definitely. The biggest thing is get involved, volunteer, and for anybody, especially come close to election, knock on doors, canvassing, whatever. It's really good experience. But when I was like 18, I was busting my butt on the campaign. But this time, this is it. The reason they're going to the ballot question is not because they're tapped out. Legislature, the Democratic supermajority, but they're sick of their nonsense. They don't want to do it. To the ballot, they already spent a couple of years ago. They made the most expensive law. They passed the message. That's probably going to be broken up. But they're nonsense again, right? They're always up. They're always scheming. I swear. So just get out there. We're going to try to come up with a toolkit. Right, Hank? Something for you. We'll blast it out, and then when you're in an Uber and a Lyft on the bar, airport, or whatever. Hey, by the way, do you know this is going on? That's how I always just talk. Always talk to your driver. Always talk to them. We're people too, right? It's usually the driver wants to talk, right?
It depends on the passenger. You usually can tell. Say hello, how you're doing.
That's true. I'm the chatty type. I can talk about anything. Enough about me. Yeah, talk to the drivers, get them involved. So like a lot of people are just rude as possible. But don't frame it like that. I'm not talking about, did you know that you're that binary, it doesn't matter at all. It doesn't matter. It's just like my message is, if your boss, right, who here has a job, by the way? So if your boss, especially if they were a giant evil tech company, was spending $100 million to feed them, what would you think? Especially if they were Amazon, Facebook, and every driver, even the ones that own, no, I say no, and that's the message. People come with that. We work with them, but we'll get some resource stuff. We'll have some down to you. Because it's just like, hey, let me grab your number real quick and send them like a little update. If people want to reciprocate the engagement, then there we go. We just got somebody on, and then in like a month we'll have a call, flyers to us. That's what we need, right? Sorry. Right now, the organization, we're afraid it's going to be topic. We don't need a bunch of union guys. We want it to be grassroots from the bottom. That's why people like that. Because we're bringing the grassroots from the grass. This metaphor is not going anywhere. Anyway,
Thank you so much.
I'm chatting.
My next question is about how do you see this ballot initiative and all organizing going into opposing it and also all the corporate funding? How do you see this issue fitting into like the broader picture? Like Massachusetts, how does this compare to others? Are there patterns here? What do you think? Yeah.
Well, what I can say is that as we can see from what happened in California, if we give these companies an inch, they're not going to take a mile. They're going to take out. And so this is not just going to affect drivers or at-based workers. You know, they're saying within a few years, half of all work in the United States is gig work. And if this ballot passes, it's just going to speed and expedite that process of half of work. And we just can't allow that. But I think it's a 113-year-old labor law that they're trying to destroy with this ballot initiative. And it's just imperative that we don't allow that to happen because we can't afford it. You know, we can't afford having half of our workforce on subsidized healthcare, half of our workforce on food, there's not enough housing, half of our workforce in subsidized housing. I know drivers that got their cars repossessed that actually came home during this pandemic. And we really, really don't have. And if the unions want to be, you know, we really need every worker, every student, every person in hospital on deck because the union days are hungry. So we just have to make sure we're not negotiating with these companies. I'm really glad, you know, the Teamsters are, you know, fighting, you know, just fighting compromise. You really have to be careful because their big tech is just very efficient. After Prop 22 passed in California, they lowered the rates from the airport, I believe to 60 cents a pound. And now they can't move the destination because they were projecting across the trip. Less than 10% of their workers are getting these supposed health benefits, other benefits, portable benefits, as they call them, you know, that they were promised. And it's just, you know, we need them to be let this be a lesson to labor that compromising with the not a good.
I'll be real quick as these are like compromise not. Right now we're seeing a big unionization drive in a lot of industries, including Starbucks. As a worker, it's so inspiring. But that's just the beginning. Because a lot of our generation, I know you all, I'm millennial. Our generation is very. Once they get a little win, that's not enough. Be unionized, be active. If you vote, be active. A lot of us voted in 2020 to get rid of someone, not for him. We voted against him, right? Especially from the. So just remember that this is just one of the defensive. So after this, we're going to counter. out there, we're gonna fight. Women's status, we're gonna fight for a union of the drivers in the airport. I said, let's kill this thing, and you're gonna have queues of organizers waiting outside this spot, right? Trying to come and organize you. And half of them are good, half of them are not. It's just the.
I think I just wanted to add that the tax is working class. Majority of working class people. And to be work are given to people from
So, I wanted to ask for, I'm gonna ask you guys, but also relevant to all of us here. How did you personally like get involved in labor organizing and like the labor movement? What did you do it? Why? You know?
Yeah, I started working on Facebook. I was doing web Denver, it was my first class school, and we had to do another research in Colorado. And the two part of the research and also doing small things for people who are doctors, the day that you work to do work with an active work working for your so that mentally worker.
So how I actually got involved with the labor movement was I actually worked for the TSA. And after September 11th, I believe they passed the Patriot Act. Someone could correct me. But what it did was it removed hundreds of thousands of unionized government employees to become non-unionized. Then we all had to fight to get reunionization. So I was one of the workers that started organizing to become unionized for the TSA. And now they are for if I was able for them to become unionized, I went to other work, but so I started with labor activism in 2001. I took a hiatus, then I became a Russian, and I kind of was placed in this position. But I don't like the exploitation. I don't like bullying, and I see big tech as a bully. And I remember I took a class at UMass Boston, and it was actually called labor. And I just remember these are the people that brought you the weekend and the 40-hour work week. That's why there's child labor laws. And so, my brother is in a union, my aunt is a nurse, my nephew is in a union. I have a lot of family and friends that work for the NCAA, that union, and I know the difference. I knew the difference between if your boss harasses you, even my sister used to work at Stop and Shop, and when the boss was saying, oh, this customer complained about you, he said, oh, well, it was a safety issue, and I'm going to talk to my union rep, and they backed down. Versus I see what happens when employees are, when you don't have these products, when you don't have them. And so that's what got me motivated, because drivers need to be heard. Gig workers need to be respected and need to be at the table. There's always decisions made, and they have no input, and that's unacceptable. And it,
I got started when I started in the cab. I realized that I was actually in a pretty fishy. That's kind of deal with a delayed learner, like deal with pushy cops. So, but I immediately saw that all the rules that were designed that drivers and customers, passengers, the city were not being enforced at all. So I immediately joined the drivers. I was trying to fight that. And so like I kind of a little bit, but I've always seen like workers' rights issues as so because we are the economy, we are everything. And like Open also saying wage theft, that's the biggest theft in what is the classification of that? The biggest by volume, the biggest theft. It's horrible. And I saw all the time.
I mean, not reported, but no way to be like, okay, because I'm so like, oh, there was a burglary, like people go like, oh,
Yeah, but it's still there. Yeah. Every time I got stiff on here, that's not how the household rules. So that's how I got involved, and I kind of like do more and more and more as the industry kind of like limited. I was still looking for something to do. Like I want to obviously wherever you go, there's gonna give the best you. But yeah, I joined the coalition. Like this is kind of I'm just in the beginning of my every this is just a start for me. Like we're gonna go for it. I'm not saying I'm just a guy that's also part of
thank you so much for sharing. Very inspiring. I have one more question that I get to the audience question. But about organizing is exhausting. Hiring takes a lot out of you. I want to ask you like where do you find joy? How do you like make yourself keep going? You're just like so big, so and like where do you find joy? Where do you go?
yeah, I'm learning how to take breaks, resting, in a way, like, culture, like, constantly, because we get to it, follow it, but it's like, 7 episodes, like, no, yeah, watch TV or go on a walk, or just like, be like, oh my God, in that moment, the pressure of like, what everybody else probably not even thinking that much, working, totally that.
Honestly, I have to say setting boundaries because I'm not even gonna lie. I'm an empath. Sometimes drivers will call me at midnight, 6 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning. And so I did have to establish boundaries. But what I can say is every time I was able to help a driver, like our organization helps drivers with employment, with accessing loans, idle loans, and every time there was a driver that got an income or was able to get that pandemic unemployment or a loan so that they could catch up their car mortgage. That's what keeps me going. That driver that I call him my right hand man, was able to get reactivated, and she was able to continue to provide a living for herself and her family. That's what keeps me going. It's the love of helping other people,
helping drivers, helping gig workers, trying to make the world a better place than yesterday, that inspires me and honestly, keeps me going. And to basically to hold these companies accountable, finally, that motivates me. To keep me going.
It's always so inspiring. You never. For me, it's a few things. One, it's like, if you're a leader, step up and do your job. Just do it. People need you, whether you've been appointed or self-created. Just do it. It's your job. You're gonna lives, whether you get something out of it or not. We want to others. That's not one. The other thing is, I'm not really religious, but there's a story in Islamic history that there was a battle being fought. In early Islamic history, every battle we're going against, it's almost like big tech and prayer. Words of 10,000 versus 200. There was one particular battle. I used to always think of it when I was in the gym. Never finished the 3 miles I made myself on. And I said, if these guys could fight a battle and win in the desert, it's 10 the number, then we can do anything. No water, no food, your family and friends and tribesmen, and you still win it. That's what just keep going. You're hungry, you're tired, you're thirsty, whatever. You know how much coffee I drink? You know how much water I drink? You know how much breaks I take? Just keep going, do it as much as you can. It is inspiring bosses, inspiring coworkers, inspiring audience. We're here to talk to you. Like, I wish I could be as far. I'm so inspired here. Such a big. I mean it. Honestly, and if you take inspiration from what you can, it's the same, but do what you can. You don't want to promise, and be honest. Always.
We have a few minutes. For anyone, or if you have a question, yeah.